Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm here today with a big album-ish tutorial. It's large, but on the inside, it's only 3 pages. Excuse me. This is a great beginner book. This is also a great book for horizontal and vertical 4x6 photos. If you look in the description box, I did break it down page by page. I also broke it down with 2 different measurements over there. There's a paper saver method, and then there is the measurements if you want to add a 5x7 photo. Okay, this book that we're doing, this one here is the paper saving method because I was using 8.5 by 11 paper. The book that we're going to do in the tutorial is going to be the second set of measurements, which is the bigger measurements for 5x7 photos. The difference is literally 1/4 of an inch. Okay, I'm going to quickly breeze through the book to kind of show you what we're doing. But remember, you can always add more flips, more flaps, more interactives. This is very beginner friendly. It's very basic. This is for my grandma. She's not a crafter, and she does not like when I have to give her instructions on how to open the mini albums that I make. And so this one is super simple, but it still has this wow factor. Here's the back. Here is the spine. I tried new to me how you add the spine where you make a big wrap for the spine. You wrap it and then you attach the covers to the excess paper. That was a little crazy, but I did it. I don't know if I like it though. Alright, again, I'm going to show you where you can add stuff. First page here, I would add a pocket, or more flips and flaps, or whatever you want. I left it plain, put the crazy paper there. Paper collection is Lake Life Cartabella. So page 1, we have nothing. I just wanted the layouts. I'm working on my matting. It took me 9 hours to mat this book, not exaggerating, probably more time, but I'm not a matter, and so it took me a while. Each pocket has a pull-out. This is just a white piece of cardstock with a little piece of paper. My grandma's a journaler. She can journal inside there. Page 2, quick little, just a quick flap. 2 horizontal, 1 vertical 4x6, and as you can see, it has a huge border because this is for a 4x6 picture. The difference between the paper saver measurements and the true 5x7 measurements is literally 1/4 of an inch on the top and the side. See there? 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch. This page right here is actually 5x7, and so you can see how it will look if you had a 5x7 photo. You know, it'll have that border. But if you're using the paper saver, you can get 2 of these on one 8.5 by 11 because it's 5.5 by 7 is the measurement, so you can get 2. But if you're using 12 by 12 paper, then it doesn't matter, right? So another flap, another flap. Again, I double matted this here, double mat it with the 5x7. So if the yellow piece was a photo, you mat it again. It's obviously going to come out even further, take up the whole page, crop it 8x10, whatever you want to do. Add more flips, more flaps. You can make a waterfall. You can do, I don't have a waterfall in here, guys. Shocking, I know. This one doesn't like to stay closed, but I didn't want to use magnets because I couldn't remember if one of my grandma's friends can't be around magnets. And so I didn't put any magnets in here. Feel free, add magnets, add Velcro, add waterfalls, add whatever you want to do. Okay. I just added the words of what we were eating. I did use my Soup Van thermal printer that I already did a review on. You can go back on my channel and look it up. Mine came with cat ears as a surprise. It's just a thermal printer. It's a label maker. And I just matted it on gold paper just to give it a little bit more eye appeal. Okay. Boom, boom. We went to the movies. Now this time I did flip up. Horizontal, horizontal. And then flip. This one flips down and has another picture on the bottom. So I had 2 vertical and 2 horizontal, and I had our little tickets. And I just printed the cover of the movie, and I knew this was going to happen. Alright. I'm over these. These are Stampin' Up! Matte dots, and they keep falling off. I put glue on them, whatever. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pause. Okay, I just added stickers because I can't anymore. I've put those on and off like 8 times. I don't know what the heck. Anyway, back to the book. The last page here, in the description box in the directions, I have you cut 2 of these pieces. I cut 2 of these pieces and I forgot to add the second piece on here. And so unfortunately I had to put the rest of my pictures on the cover here, even though I wanted to put words here like I did everywhere else. But I forgot, and I matted everything, and there was nowhere that I could add another photo mat without it being bulky. I tried to add, like I put it inside and try to add over. It was just too bulky, it didn't make sense, and so I just put my pictures on front and went with it. So there's that. Again, the back page I'm leaving open. You can add a pocket, you can add a full flip, like the whole size of this, you know, whatever you want to do. Let's get to the tutorial. If you notice in the description box, you need 6 of these flaps, okay? I went ahead and cut out all 6 of mine at one time. You can go page by page if you want to, or you can count them up, but you need 6 of the flaps. Again, I'm going to be using the bottom set of measurements, which is the true 5x7 photo. So use whichever one you want. You don't need to cut both unless you're making 2 albums. And hopefully I made that super clear. So you're going to go ahead and cut them to 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. Again, I'm using the bottom measurements, and so if what I'm saying is not what you're seeing, you're looking at the other set of measurements. Okay? So these are either going to be 5 3/4 by 7 1/4 or 5 1/2 by 7, depending on which set of measurements you're using. And then you're going to score them on the short side at half. That is the same for both measurements, okay? And then I will cut each one page by page, okay? But that's just a little tip that I wanted to show you. So now we're going to go ahead and make our base page. I already did mine because this is like the second time I'm doing this tutorial, because I kept saying the wrong measurements and I didn't want to confuse anybody. So I will show you real quick on like a scrap paper. You want to cut 3 pieces, and this is the same for both sets of measurements. 3 pieces that are 7 by 9 1/2. And 3 pieces that are 7 by 10 1/2. Okay. Now on your 7 by 10 1/2, you want to score on the long side at 1/2 inch and 10. 1/2 inch and 10. Okay, you're going to do that 3 times each because we're having 3 pockets or 3 pages. So we are going to go ahead and fold in our score lines. Okay, like so. You're going to apply your tape. I'm just going to show you with glue because I don't want to use my tape. This one is just going to be scrap paper. What I do with the stuff like this, I cut it up and use it as scratch paper. So now we're just going to attach our 2 pieces. You can do it this way, where I unfolded the flap and attached it like that, or you can just have it folded in and stick it right on down, right on top. Whatever is the easiest. I found doing it the way where I pull the flap out, it would be this way. My pocket page laid flatter. I don't know if that's the reason, or maybe I just cut perfectly. I don't know. But just get it on top. Okay. Now, if your pages do not lay flat, like how mine are super flat, look at that. That is okay. All you need to do is adjust it to where it's going to make it lay flat. Like what I like to do is just push it all to the top and just re-varnish that score line. It'll make it flat. It doesn't have to be super flat. You can have that little bubble, but me doing it the way I just showed you, every single time, it was flat. And I've never had that. So, happy accident I found that. Alright, so do that 2 more times and have your pages. Okay? So go ahead and pause your video and do all 3 of your binding pages. Okay? Cool. What I wanted to also say is I am not going to teach you the hinge that I used because I do not have the license to teach it for free, and so we're not going to do that. If you want to use the same hinge system that I'm using, which is the Hidden Hinge Plus, then you need to go over to paperphenomenon.com and purchase the tutorial for the Hidden Hinge Plus. And I only have 3 hinges. You can also use regular hidden hinge. You can use stack the deck. You can use whatever hinge system is your favorite. Please use that, but I will not be teaching this again because I do not have the license to teach it for free. My covers, if you notice in the description box, I tell you my covers are 8 by 10 because I'm using this Hidden Hinge Plus. I have an extra 1/2 inch on my pages because I'm using that plus system. It's a plus a 1/2 inch. So my pages are coming out further than if it was just the Hidden Hinge. Okay, so you're going to have to adjust your covers accordingly. I'm not showing you the covers on video because I don't want you to do my measurements, even though I know I wrote them in the description guide. But what I want you to do is wait until you have your hinge, you know, what you decide. If you decide on Hidden Hinge Plus, then make your covers 8 by 10. Regular Hidden Hinge, you could probably do 7.5 by 9 3/4, maybe. I don't know. Oh, crap. So, you know, that's your deal. My spine is only 1 1/4 inches because I do not have a lot of flips and flaps. I don't have anything pop up or anything like that. And so this is all the pictures I'm putting in here. There's plenty of room. There's no alligator mouth. But if you are planning on having multiple pictures, more flips and flaps, then you need to make your spine accordingly and maybe add another page if you want to have a lot of stuff. I don't, so I don't need to. You can check out my YouTube channel for the regular Hidden Hinge. I think I did it years ago. Also how to wrap a cover. I mean, that's just one-on-one. I don't know if I'm going to wrap this cover or not because it's actually 2 pieces of 110-pound weight cardstock as opposed to chipboard. I don't think this book needs full chipboard. I think it just needs doubled up 110-pound cardstock or cereal box. When I say doubled up, I glued 2 pieces of 110-pound cardstock together. So I don't know if I'm going to wrap this or if I'm going to do the new to me where you you wrap your spine and then you add your covers to your spine wrap. So it's like you flip this up. Obviously you're going to cut it nicely, flip it up, and then you add your covers here. I know, crazy, right? I did it on the other book. It's new, so it's kind of wild. So I don't know. And then it looks like this. I miscut on the inside, and so I added these little fun little elements here so that way you wouldn't see the wonkiness that it didn't cover the whole spine, because I mitered and you weren't supposed to miter, and it didn't cover the spine, so it was weird looking. So I had to add these little things, which again, they were super cute. But yeah, so there's that. I will work on the cover later, but at this point you definitely want to make sure that your pocket pages fit on your hinge system. Some people are more comfortable I did not cut my hinge system right. So I'm glad that I'm telling you to do this because I cut my hinge system too big. I cut it for my covers and not for my, what you call them. So at this point, it's an easy fix, right? All I have to do is just cut this down. But you want to make sure your pocket pages fit on your hinge system before you do anything else, okay? Some people like to go ahead and add their pockets pages onto their hinge and then decorate. I go back and forth. Sometimes I add it first, sometimes I decorate first. It doesn't matter. To me anyway. Some people it does. Let me cut this down properly. I always check for this particular reason right here before I add my hinge system into my covers, because if I would have added that into my covers, that's it. You would have to take this all out and just, it's a nightmare. So if you measure, make sure everything fits before you put anything together, then you are good to go. Okay. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm good with that. I'm not going to add it on the hinge yet. I'm going to decorate. So page 1 was completely blank. That's why there's no page 1 on your cutting guide. Page 2 is the one 5 3/4 by 7 1/4. Now you can, if you put your tape on the inside, feel free to tuck it in, or you can put it on top. It does not matter. I think I tucked mine in on some of them and I put it on top on the others. Yeah, this one I tucked in. See? And then the other ones, I'm pretty sure, yep, I just stuck it on top. You can't see it either way. It don't matter. It's just really where you put your tape. You do not have to mat first. Alright, so what we're going to do is go ahead. This looks like it's not exactly 7. Slightly off. Yes, that was so petty of me to do that for this tiny little sliver. That's it. It wasn't right. Okay. Oh, I dropped that. There's the piece that was bothering me. So if you're using non-directional paper, it doesn't matter which way you put it on. And now this is the back page. Page 2. Page 3 is going to be on this one, and page 3 is what? One, and let me look at it in the book. So page 1, nothing. Page 2, 1 flappy. Page 3, 2 flaps. Yeah. You know what? I need to change this because I have this messed up. Okay. Your description box is right, but my paper. Alright, so this one, I added 1 to the bottom. And I do give myself a tiny little border because I'm a border girl. You can go right to the edge if you want. And I added 1 to the top. Again, giving myself a teeny tiny little border. Not even 1/8 of an inch. Just weird like that. I like it. And that's it. You can fold it this way or the other way. It doesn't matter. Okay. Page 4. Page 4. We have the other measurements. So we need to go ahead and cut those. So page 4 has a little guy right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and cut that. And page 4 is going to be 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 if you're using the second set of measurements. I guess this one didn't really matter. You could use the same measurement for both if you want to. And then on the long side, score it 1/2 inch. Or this is where you can take the liberty and turn this into a 4x6 mat instead of this little mat, which I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. And then I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch on the short side. So this is just a rogue measurement. You will not have that. I will not be typing this, okay? I just right now decided I wanted a different measurement because I want to show you how you can absolutely follow the cutting guide, change your measurements, add, subtract. I'm going to add because I can. So that's what we're going to do. each time I make a book, it's going to be slightly different, depending on how I'm feeling that day. And here's my big one that I already had up and taped. So we're going to do what? I'm going to put one in the middle. I'll put that up top, and I'll put the other one on the bottom. Okay. So if you want yours exactly like how I did my Lakeside book, you're going to take your bigger piece. You're going to add that right here in the middle on the right hand side. Okay. Just in the middle as best as I can. And then you're going to take your little flap and you're going to put it right here in the middle of the left hand side. If you want it to be exactly like my Lakeside book, or if you're following around my In the Mood Madness, then what we're going to do is taper glue. Yes, as you can see, sometimes I do rip my tape, how it's supposed to go. I want to add yep. So now I have room for a 5x7 photo, a 4x6 photo, and a 3x5 photo, 3x4 photo. Okay. And now I'm going to put this up here. Or do I want to add it on top of here? You know what? I'm adding it right here. You can add magnets, like I was saying before. Just make sure you have a little warning, especially if you're doing this at craft fairs or, you know, giving it as a gift. Warn the people before you hand them, hey, this has magnets. Not everyone can use magnets, especially if they have a heart pacer. So please be mindful of that. All right, that's page 4. Page 5. These are 2 different measurements, and so what was page 5? I think it's this page. Yep. So I had, okay, so I did 2 vertical. So for page 5, I need 5.5. Let me look at the cutting guide, not just my scratchy notes. Yep, 5 1/4 by 7 3/4. Okay. So 5 1/4 by 7 3/4. Can't get my paper trimmer. So 5, oh, let me do 7 3/4 by 5 3/4. Scored on the short side at 1/2 inch. No, scored on the long side at 1/2 inch, excuse me. Follow your cutting guide. Those 2 are done. You can pre-cut all of your pages and all your flaps and stuff if you want to. That probably would have been easier, but I didn't. So, all right. Again, awkwardly tape up. Tape up. This is why I forgot to put the other flap on my one page, because I had so much junk that I just thought it was part of the junk. But if you catch it before you mat, it's not a big deal. But in my case, I did not catch it before I mat it, so I can do it. All right, I'm putting, ooh, should we do these in the center? I had them where they were, one was on the bottom left and one was on the top right, but I feel like I want them in the center for this book. So I'm going to center it as best as I can. Also, a book like this, nobody knows what it's supposed to look at. So if you're over here and you drop it down here, okay, who cares? So now you have one that's in the center and one that's like at the top right or the top left. You know, it's your book. You can do what you want. And actually, I think I like the craziness of that. Where one is in the center and one is over to the side. Yep. Feeling a little crazy. That's what I want. Or you can center both of them and just have this like this. But I want crazy. So we're going to go crazy over here. Cool. That's a fun, funky. You'll get to see all the paper. That's fun and funky. Will I change my mind? Maybe. Just get my little undo out and undo that tape. If you do glue, you're stuck. But right now I like the crazy. Okay. And then we're on page 6. And page 6 has the last two. In this video, I hope I told you to cut these out ahead of time. I don't know. And so my idea for this was going to be, I think it was, yeah, this is what I was going to do. I was going to put one flap here, one flap on top, and then this last piece, which was 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. Let me see if I have. Yeah. This is so you can fit a 4 by 6 picture. So 4 3/4 by 6 1/4, scored on the short side at half. That's all my folios ever are just these quick add a flap. When in doubt, add a flap. You can go look at Rosa Kelly if you want like super duper amazing interactive pop-ups and slide outs and spinnies and whatnot. I love making those for other crafters, like if I'm gifting this to another crafter. But when I'm gifting to a non-crafter, I typically stay away from those interactive elements. Okay, so do that. Okay. Alright, so what I'm thinking, should we do a hidden flap? Hide that picture in there? What do y'all think? Feeling a little crazy today. Should we do a hidden? I like that. A little hidden, little peekaboo. That's what we're going to do. Alright, so this one I'm going to tape on the inside of my pocket. Make sure you don't tape it to both pieces. You need to leave that open because that's how you add your hinge. If you accidentally tape that shut, then that's going to be the other side. You have to have one side open to put it on the hinge. Okay? It's not a huge error to fix. That's why some people like to go ahead and put their pages on so that way they don't mess up. How did I just have that? I think I'm going to go down to the bottom. I know I changed my mind already I'm going to add this to the top, and I'm going to put this little peekaboo. You can do that. You can put it here. Put it on top. No, I like the crazy of that peekaboo. You could have layered these two, one on top, one, you know, this inside there, but I want to cut down some of the bulk, and so that's why I placed it inside and then this one on top, if that makes sense. If you put both of them on top, it doesn't matter, it's just a little bit more bulky. But it's not a start all over moment. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's it. Your pages are done. Now all you have to do is put them on your hinge. If you want to add more flips and flaps, what do I have over here? I don't know. More flips and flaps to your first page, or you just want to have that blank layout. That is totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and attach my pages to my hinge system, which I will show you. Determine which is going to be your front, which is going to be your back, and attach it. This is why I use non-directional paper when I'm doing the construction, because if I accidentally put this first page on the back, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, or if I put it upside down or whatever, it does not matter. It only matters when you have pockets and directional pages. Actually, even pockets you could probably get away with, because then you just be like, oh no, it's just a bottom opening pocket. Okay. Yes, I did forget to tuck out a piece of thing, but I just get my little pokey tool, peel it up. Okay. Yes, it took me years to be able to do this quickly and confidently. Okay. Don't think you're just going to be peeling sticking perfectly on your first try. I don't know, you might. Let me have faith in you. Alright, so I'm going to add all of mine. Making sure you get in the pocket and not just in between flaps. And you're good to go. And, okay, what are you getting stuck on? Oh, I had some yuck inside there. Look, I was just tooting my own horn and now I can't even put the pocket on the hinge. That's what happens. I just got humbled. I'm over here like, yeah, I'm so perfect. Look at me. It took years. Thank you, glitter gods, for humbling me. Appreciate it. On film. Could have waited till I wasn't filming. Make sure I got that lined up. And good to go. Put that in there. I didn't get that lined up perfectly, but that's okay. You just add like a little bit of baby powder, or just wipe a towel over it to get that sticky off. I'm not going to redo it, but I'll go ahead and finish this. Okay, so I added a few little additions because I wasn't happy that there weren't any waterfalls. So I will put those in the description box. I'll put them, I'll say after tutorial additions or something like that. But here it is. Here's the book. I did go ahead and use my P3 tape from Paper Phenomenon. and I just kind of covered the outside of the book, the edges, so I didn't have to cover with the paper. But the first thing I added was a waterfall. So this is 5¼ by 7¼ so you can put your full 5 by 7 here. Then on page 2 I added yet another waterfall. These are for your 2 by 3 pictures. And I added lots of magnets so that way it would stay. I had to add the 2 magnets here because I didn't pay attention to the magnets here. So it's trying to catch over here. So I needed to make sure it stayed on that side. I just added the peekaboo, which I did during the tutorial, and I added the magnet there. Though I don't know if this is going to be strong enough because I put it back here and I need it actually. I'm just thinking when I start adding pictures and layers, it's not going to be strong enough. So let me add it somewhere else. I bought the glue dots to go on these magnets and I have no idea where I put them. My life's disheveled right now. Alright, so I'm going to put it on this piece here. I'll just have to mat that piece, which is fine, because I want it like this. Okay, there we go. Then I didn't do anything to these pages. I thought these were big spaces. You can add different stuff with your matting. And the last page, I had already altered that during the tutorial. So that is the whole album. I don't know if I'm going to mat this or I'm going to just sell it as is. But I will have a lot of my albums for sale coming up. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I will. So there's the tutorial. If you try it, please tag me. I would love to support your channel. And thanks for watching. Bye.